Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to LeTip Live. LeTip is a group of individuals, like minded individuals, coming together to help each other's businesses grow. And today we have a fun filled episode because Brian, my right hand man, Brian, is going to be interviewing Sheldon Neal of Remax. So I'm going to be taking a backseat today and letting the guys have a grand old time here on LeTip Live. We do want to remind you that we are live. So if you have a question, comment, or concern, please put it in the comments section and we can answer it live. So without any further ado, Brian Hanslin, take it away.
Thank you, Doug, for the introduction. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Welcome to LeTip Live. We are here with Sheldon Neal as our guest. For our visitations within the group, we like to do it a little differently here at Undefeated Media. We like to have our guests come in to the studio and have a little short sit-down conversation, a little podcast, if you will, with our visitation. So here we are, Sheldon Neal. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you. This is a surprise. I thought I was going to be interviewing you.
Well, we're going to turn the table around a little bit.
Yeah, I like it.
This is for you here. Yeah, right. A little free promo never hurt. So,
Sounds good.
So Sheldon, thanks for coming here. And, why don't we just start off, get into the meat and potatoes. What made you join LeTip?
So I'm a real estate agent with Remax. Been in the business for 16 years. And early on in my journey, it was recommended that you get involved with a network group. Real estate is a relationship-based industry, and what better way to get into relationships than joining a network group? And it's actually hard for a real estate agent to get into some of these groups because they're very popular,
right?
And they do provide a really good source of referrals and a good expansion of your reputation. And so I wanted to choose one, and LeTip was highly recommended. Opportunity came up. There were several realtors that were applying for the position. So I actually was one of those few people who had to have what's called a speak off, where we had to sort of get on at each one of our soapboxes.
Wow.
And promote why I was the best one for the group.
Well, I guess it worked out in the end.
Well, I hear it was a landslide, but I wasn't in the voting. So I don't know. Maybe not. I'm not sure.
I guess I'm looking forward to the day where we have to have another one of those. Is that public
with
for
a
the
realtor
group to watch? Is that, well, not with a realtor, of course not,
Wow.
but for another position, of course.
Yes.
But is that for the entire group to watch and decide?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. When you have multiple people that are applying for the same position, each individual candidate has their own sort of 10-minute soapbox to be able to go out and, again, stake their claim.
Sure.
Independent of the others. Nobody else is watching. The other candidates are not watching. And then the group decides who they think is the best fit for the group. And here I am.
I mean, that just goes to show how serious we take it here at LeTip. And there is a lot of fun being had, friendships being made and relationships forming, but it is still, a business-oriented group first and foremost. And that's something that I constantly, kind of have to remind myself, because, I mean, there are so many great people in the group that you really just become close with, and it really feels like a family. And I think that's one of the things that separates LeTip from other networking groups, is just the sense of camaraderie and how everybody's really looking out for each other and willing to go that extra mile. So, we're glad to have you here, and thanks for joining. So I know you've had a long history in LeTip in various different positions within the group. Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Yep. So I was a past president, 5 years. I was at the helm and enjoyed every minute of that. But at some point, it's just good to get a new set of eyes in the board positions. I still help out with the board as a past president, but when I got involved, as a president, we were at about 20 members. And by the time I handed it off to our current president, Craig, we were at about 50. You certainly, when you get involved, you certainly get to not only get a little bit more exposure for yourself, but you start to become a better businessman as well, because you have to plan, organize, orate, do all these things that you don't necessarily have to do sitting in the membership chair every week. So it was a great experience to be involved as a president. Enjoyed it very much. We were successful growing the group to a really good size, and it's just been a really good part of the journey.
Yeah. So I mean, coming from president to now member, what are some things, what's one big thing that you learned as president that you would like to, pass on to somebody who's a member that they wouldn't otherwise see because they hadn't had the experience from the perspective of a president?
So a couple of things. One of the biggest things I always promoted was the visitation. Hence the reason I'm here.
Yeah.
But there is so much intrinsic value that you don't necessarily think of when you do your visitation. Inevitably, you get to talk about each other.
Yeah.
So when you just hear as a member, one of the things you're supposed to do is to do your visitation. If you don't really engage yourself in that and immerse yourself in the benefit of a visitation, you don't really get as much as you can out of the group. It's one of the most important things you can do. Again, it's an extension of networking because now you're having a one-on-one networking, relationship building experience.
Right.
So doing the visitations is so important. And again, inevitably, you're going to visit somebody else, but you all always talk about each other.
Right.
So it almost becomes a two-way street, whoever's the visitee or visitor.
Yeah.
So that was one thing. And then the other thing is just to get involved. When you become president, you are involved, obviously. You're very much involved in all the decisions that are made. But even the other board positions, whether it's a tip master or a visitation coordinator, whatever it is, you get to see the group from a slightly different angle, and you start to build your brand even more, promote yourself even more, and get better at promoting yourself.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that I value. I mean, as a relatively newer member of the group, I've been part of LeTip now it's been a quick year almost.
Wow.
But I mean, getting these conversations and meeting, I'm still having one-on-one conversations for the first time. I mean, you and I are now starting to talk more. So I mean, it's so many people in the group that have so much to offer, and you really wouldn't know until you have these one-on-one conversations. So it's great that we're able to have this here, and thank you for coming again. I know you got a busy schedule, especially. I mean, the market is crazy. So I mean, why don't you talk a little bit about real estate? What's going on right now with the market? I mean, obviously we know it's a busy time for you. So what's been going on in the world of Sheldon Neal, the realtor?
Well, there's two parts to that. One is Sheldon Neal's real estate journey, and one is the real estate market in general. I'm 16 years a realtor, and I've never seen this market. We've had ups and downs, and we've had challenges and different twists and turns, but this is insanity. We have such little inventory, and we have a lot of buyers still looking to buy houses, that every house that's pretty decent is massively competitive.
Yeah.
And with that in mind, it promotes buyers having to overstretch, sometimes more than they want to, just for the opportunity to have a house, or they might miss it, and it might be 6 months, it might be a year. You never know. We have plenty of buyers that have put offers in, not ours so much, but we hear of the stories where they've put in 6, 7, 8 offers and lost them all. And we've had some as well, but we've learned a lot over the way. We also bring a lot of our experience to the table, and we're positioning our buyers to have better success of being chosen, just because we know that there's several strategies that can help our buyers compete and ultimately win these deals over some other agents and their buyers who are not positioning their clients the same way as we do.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, just going based on your presentation the other week, I mean, to have an agent that has these tools, so to speak, at their accessibility is something that I think is an advantage for somebody in LeTip, especially in a group of our size. I mean, just having those people at your disposal, and they're willing to help. So having Craig, and Frank just being able to help out any way they can just kind of separates you a little bit from others. I mean, I assume that there's a lot of new real estate agents popping up out of the woodwork due to the rise of opportunity. So it's just another reason why LeTip would be beneficial for a real estate agent.
Yeah, I mean, you make a really good point, and we've cashed in on that from day one. Craig and I actually sat down. Craig came very close to when I started in the group, and he and I sat down many years ago, right when we started, over a decade ago, and we both said, I think there's opportunity for us to make a difference in our industries.
Yeah.
Each one of us said there seems to be some inconsistencies that we could bridge a gap with. And do you want to help each other up this ladder? And we both created various different procedures and systems for both sides of our real estate job. And they both were very successful, and clients seem to appreciate them a lot. A lot of them are now being used by other agents and brokerages. So we feel kind of nice about that, that we had an impact in the industry. A lot of the competition uses the same type of systems and wording that we sort of created and pioneered a while back. Yeah. But the fact that we have go-to people along the journey of buying or selling a real estate transaction gives us more weight when it comes to winning buyers or being trusted by sellers, because they know that we have not just our own reliability, but our extended team working for them is also a trusted vendor that will do them right and treat them well and help them ultimately get the best journey that they could have, whether they're buying or selling.
Yeah, and I think that can really apply to any industry, any member in LeTip. Yep. I mean, we stress the power partners within our group, and I think part of the way you can get to know if you have a person in your group that can really work well with you is having these one-on-one conversations and getting to know people. So it doesn't just apply to real estate. I mean, within our industry, we're working with Doreen all the time with website development and SEO. So there's always people in your group that can help you as a business, but also help your clients out. So it's really a win-win.
For sure.
Doug, anything you got here? Comments,
well, we are
questions?
live, so I want to make sure everyone at home watching knows that you could put a question in the comment section and we can answer it live. So we talked about a lot of good stuff here. How about this, Sheldon? How about the why? Why did you become a real estate agent? Why did you get into this?
So why I became a real estate agent was sort of an interesting twist, because the phrase real estate sort of came to me when I was about 10 years old in England. Grew up in England, came to this country only to go to college on a full soccer scholarship. But when I was 10 years old, wasn't very affluent. We lived in a basement that was damp walls, not many personal possessions to my name, and we had a black and white TV at the time. And on that TV, there was a infomercial, as far as I remember at that age, which said, "Hey, if you ever want to become a millionaire, get into real estate." And not being a millionaire, far from it, that always stuck with me over the years. So I always sort of remember, wow, that whatever that real estate thing is, it sounds like it can make you money. Yeah. And when I got to America and went through college and went through my first jobs over here, I came to a crossroads where I could choose a new path. And it never left me that from 10 years old, it said, "Hey, listen, you want to do well in business, real estate." And I think, though, it was probably for something like timeshare. So it really wasn't a real estate agent. But I always remember that it said, if you want to make a lot of money, get into real estate. So at that time, it was a little bird on my shoulders, in my ear the whole time. If you get the chance, get into real estate in some fashion. Didn't really know what it meant. But since then, it's become a real labor of love, because I do think it is a great match for my personality. I think it is something that I can have a real impact in other people's lives, more than many journeys in people's careers. And that does get me up every morning with a boost. I wake up every day thrilled to be a realtor, thrilled to have the opportunity to help people to a better chapter in their lives. And knowing that I can do that regardless of a paycheck is a real driving force. So why real estate? That's basically it.
We need to find that ad. It's a life-changing ad. We need to mock that ad and copy it. It's life-changing.
You think you know what year that was? If you had to ballpark it?
It was probably in the 80s.
All right. Narrows it down a little bit.
That helps us. We'll try.
Yeah,
try to dig that
absolutely.
Up. That would be something to pull out.
Yeah.
So I have this whole theory that sports and business, there's a lot of correlation. So why don't we go down your sports path? You were very good at soccer. Why don't you give us a little bit of a story of your sports?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. We try and instill, my wife and I try to instill this in our kids as well, and we're very blessed to have athletic kids that are doing well in their journeys as well, primarily soccer, but they're good athletes. And I didn't have much growing up, but I had an ability to be a good soccer player. Um, there wasn't really much of a barrier to entry playing soccer. You just needed a soccer ball and maybe some sneakers, and you know, my whole childhood I grew up rushing through getting my homework done so I could go to the parking lot next to my house and hammer the ball against the wall for hours and hours and hours and just hone my soccer skills there. I did well enough there to become a well-known player in my town, play for a lot of my town representatives and regionally representative teams. I ended up playing with a pro teams academy and a semi-pro team by the time I was about 16 years old. At that point, it was the thing to do by a lot of American universities at that time to come and look for 16, 17-year-old European talented soccer players and offer them a scholarship to come to America. So that opened that door. Soccer really is the reason I'm sitting at this microphone right now. Without soccer, I'm not here.
Yeah.
So that offered me the opportunity to come to America and play soccer for the university, but also have an opportunity to further my education in America too.
Wow.
Great stuff. Great stuff. We are live. So if you have a question, comment, concern, please put it in the comments section. We have our first one of the day. It's from Connor. It says, what type of skills do you need as a real estate agent? Visual skills, people skills, etc.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly people skills for sure. There is a stat, and it's because there is such a low barrier of entry to become a real estate agent. It's not for everybody, although most agents, we say, it's very common that seasoned real estate agents say, this is an HGTV agent. They've seen HGTV, they've seen the Hollywood version of what it's like to be a realtor. And that couldn't be further from the truth. We are in the trenches. We are down and dirty. We are therapists a lot of the time. We are creative marketers a lot of the time. We are business management professionals a lot of the time. And we are generally people all the time. So it's not for the faint of heart by any manner of speaking. It's certainly not skipping through the fields and opening doors to show a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom house. And the stat is that I think 72% of all real estate agents are out of the business within the first 2 years.
Wow.
That's the turnover ratio, because it's so easy to get in, but it's not so easy to make a genuine living from it. Although the top producing agents seem to make it look easy, it's far from easy. It's far from easy. And when you're talking being available basically 7 days a week, 100-hour weeks, very common, and for no guarantees, especially in this market, you can understand why people can get burnt out very quickly or despondent very, very quickly. You have to be really at the top of your game as a real estate agent, you have to have built a strong reputation.
I'm sure. And I mean, as you said, 73, was it 72?
I think 72%, the last stat of agents are out of the business within 2 years because they just say, I'm not making a living from it. I'm out every day.
Right.
I'm showing houses every day, but I'm not making a living. This is not what I thought it was going to be. And you get lured in with wear nice clothes, drive your car, open some doors, make lots of money. It is the furthest thing from what the average real estate agent's journey looks like.
Yeah. And I'm sure even after those 2 years, 3 years, even more dwindle down, the number just keeps going lower and lower. So anybody who's been in this as long as you have, I mean, definitely has proven themselves as somebody to be taken seriously within the industry and is here to stay.
Yeah. And I think you have to have a genuine match for your personality, and it's not for every personality. Yes, you can change and adjust your personality to whatever road you choose. And I'm fortunate to be pretty well respected in the industry, and I'm asked to do a number of seminars, podcasts, webcasts, etc. And one of the very first things I tell new agents is you have to find your lane in real estate, because you can't really be a jack of all lanes in real estate. There's so many different angles, whether it's commercial expertise, whether it's residential, whether it's condominium, whether it's rentals, whether it's relocation, whether it's foreclosures, senior residential expert, whatever it is, you can't really be everything. I'm not an expert in certain fields. And when somebody asks me about that, I don't try and fake it. I find somebody that can help that client who is an expert in that area of real estate.
Right.
I feel like I'm pretty proficient in the areas that I cover well. And with that goes my reputation.
Yeah, that's great.
Wonderful stuff. In the comments section, if you got a question, we'll answer it live. Sheldon, how about a story, like a success story or your happiest moment as being a real estate agent?
There are so many because there are so many challenges. One of them was a situation where one of my clients was facing foreclosure. They had their mother was poorly. I basically worked with these people for about 18 months. They were in a short sale situation. They had to sell their house, get out from under their very high mounting debt. And they needed somebody who was going to be by their side, not just as a real estate agent, but as a caring person to be a support staff way above and beyond a real estate agent to keep this family off the ledge. And that responsibility was entrusted to me almost as a secondary responsibility. I was there to try and help them sell their house. But when you're dealing with a foreclosure, that can be an incredibly lengthy process because you're dealing with a bank. Now, again, foreclosures went through a big boom. It was happening a lot. I was doing a lot of short sales at the time. But to cut to the end and answer your question, about 18 months after we started that journey and many, many ups and downs in the roller coaster, we got the house sold. We got the approval from the bank. And I've never had a tearful hug from a client as powerfully as I did there, where she said, "You've changed our lives for the better. Just you. Everybody, there's been other people that helped, but without you, my family is in a bad place." That's a special moment. That is a special moment. So that's one of my biggest wins as a real estate agent to me. And the hours that were put in is a cliche, but the hours that were put in way surpassed my commission check. And it never from the beginning was about the commission check, ever. I had to dig into my own pocket for several steps along the way that I didn't even think twice on. It was an opportunity to help somebody else in need, where I could only imagine if I was in that position, how incredibly grateful or desperate I would have been to find somebody else to help me and my family through that time. And this journey offered me that opportunity to help them. And there's been several situations similar along the way, but those are some of the most gratifying moments.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. So happiest moment, great. That's amazing. Do you have a wacky or crazy story you'd like to share with us? Like, oh my God, how did this happen?
Psycho clients,
sure.
Bizarre members of the public,
Yeah.
You name it. We could do a whole different show on psycho clients. Yeah, I mean that really is it, and we're sort of living right now in one of those stretches, if you like, of the journey where bizarre things are happening. Absolutely bizarre. What we're dealing with, competing against other agents and buyers who are doing just crazy things to try and get their client an edge. You know, it's an adult show, but I could go into some bizarre things that people are offering. But anyway, bottom line is, there's never a dull moment. The answer to your question is there some crazy bizarre? It's not long before there's another bizarre moment in real estate. One of the situations a couple of years ago was I was showing a house. I had the appointment, knocked on the door, rang the bell, nobody there. I used the lockbox to get access. I opened the door. It opens up into the living room. And on the couch, literally 10 feet away, was the owner in his underwear. That's all, sitting there reading his phone. And I said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I was ringing the bell." He said, "No, I heard it." It didn't say come in, didn't come and answer, and
Oh,
didn't
man.
bother putting a towel on or anything. But he was sitting there. I said, "Okay, you knew we have an appointment, right?" He said, "Yeah, go right ahead." And he just sat there in his underwear the whole time. And so, never a dull moment.
Wow. All right, that's a wacky
Oh,
story.
that's pretty
That
crazy.
takes the cake. All right, so as this crazy market we're in, like you said, people are promising crazy things. Are there maybe some tips or tricks you could share with the viewers of things that people might want to gravitate towards, and maybe some things that people might want to gravitate away from?
First thing you should gravitate towards is aligning with an experienced real estate agent, period. Because
Mm-hmm.
there's no hard, fast um, list of things that you follow to guarantee that you get a house.
Mm-hmm.
It can change. It can vary on what's more important to each seller in each different house. Different sellers have different priorities.
Mm-hmm.
You have some sellers that they're transferring on a job to Kansas and they got to be out the door in 3 weeks. So with that, you adjust to have a very fast closing. You talk to the mortgage guy. You see how fast they can turn around a loan approval. You then emphasize that on your cover letter. The seller then says, "Okay, this guy's on their game. They've already got the mortgage approval well underway. It's in underwriting, or they've already been approved. They're just pending appraisal, or they're waiving appraisal, or whatever that might be." But that's what's important to that seller. If another seller has a different circumstance where they have to close and maybe they need a use and occupancy, which is when the seller is allowed to stay after the closing for a certain amount of time.
Mhm.
It depends. So the first tip that a buyer should keep in mind is align yourself with an experienced agent that can uncover these things to give you the best advantage and the best chance to get a house. The second thing is get all your ducks in a row. For sure, you don't
Mhm.
have time to start the process to get a mortgage pre-approval, save your down payment, plan for a quick move. You don't have time for that these
Yeah.
days. So get your ducks in a row, be organized, and align yourself with somebody that can give you good advice.
Great stuff. Last chance comment section. If you have a question, comment, concern for Sheldon, we can answer it live with you today. Sheldon, anything else you want anybody out there to know about real estate before we shift gears?
Uh, Not really, other
Yeah.
than the fact that it obviously the dream of home ownership is still one of the number one goals of any individual in the country, and
Yeah.
there's still ways to do it, but you have to be well educated by the right sources, and that doesn't always include HGTV. It can be folks that are in your area in the trenches. But don't be afraid of home ownership, even in times of craziness like we have right now. It's still an incredible feeling to own your own home. It's still a great financial benefit. You get a lot of benefits, certainly when it comes to tax season and personal enjoyment every day, that this is what you've earned and built. So there's a lot of positives that come along with home ownership or selling your home and moving to the next level up house.
Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. It looks like we have another question in the comments section. All right. What do real estate agents think of people buying property in the metaverse? So the next wave of real estate, I guess. Are you prepared for that, Sheldon?
Hasn't
Put on the
really,
goggles.
hasn't really come across our desk right at the moment.
Hmm.
There's so many different sort of concept ideas that come up in real estate, and there are some different styles and ways of buying houses with different methods, whether it's now these iBuying companies, whether it's crypto, various different sort of pie in the sky futuristic thoughts.
Hmm.
But that hasn't really, we're still in the traditional sense for the near future. If something legitimate comes into our neighborhood, then we'll be ready for that. But as of right now, no, it's understanding how you best position yourself for buying and selling.
You know what? I'm almost kind of glad to hear that that's
Yeah.
not taking over yet. It's happening so fast,
Yeah.
and I know I'm still young, but I'm starting to get it a little more. I'm starting to feel like my dad a little bit more and understanding where he's coming from with these developing technologies. 'Cause
Yeah.
I don't understand the metaverse. I don't understand the whole, crypto world. So I'm kind of glad to hear that it's not,
Yep.
taking over as fast as I thought it was going to.
Good stuff, guys. All right, so let's shift gears a little bit and get to know Sheldon personally with our speed round. All right, we're going to set the ticker up now. We might have some technical, some audio difficulties. I hope the ticker is working. The music was a little awkward before, but everything hopefully is working correctly. And we're going to start the ticker off. Brian, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Sheldon, are you ready?
I am.
All right, here we go. Speed round.
All right, we got your favorite food. What is it?
Anything with avocado.
Oh, okay. Favorite sport?
Soccer.
Favorite soccer team? Who do you
Aston
support?
Villa in England.
Okay, is that was your local?
That was
closest?
my favorite team growing up. My local team that I played for the academy was Brighton and Hove Albion, but Villa is still my favorite.
All right, favorite musical artist?
I love Harry Connick Jr.
Okay, and now this is a question Doug loves. First concert, best concert?
First concert was Wet, Wet, Wet. Their
Okay.
English group. I went with my best friend and we got smushed against the stage and we loved it. Best concert was probably standing on the outside of Wembley Stadium for Live Aid.
Oh, wow, that's pretty. That's
Nice.
Yep.
crazy. Speed round. Wow. Okay. Doug, anything?
Favorite movie?
Scrooged.
Nice. Favorite TV show?
Modern Family. Phil Dunphy forever. Let's go.
Nice. Do you do any streaming services? Anything you've been streaming?
Yes,
Live
we
streaming?
just watched BritBox, The Bay, phenomenal. BritBox, one of the streaming services like Netflix, but The Bay, outstanding. Really, really good English drama, crime drama.
Nice, nice.
Favorite vacation spot?
Disney World.
Oh, wow.
Favorite ride on Disney World? In Disney World,
Yeah.
or park or space?
Epcot.
All right.
Love Epcot. Takes me
Nice.
around the world.
Great stuff.
I mean,
Anything
unless
else?
You got anything?
I think favorite non-sport, non-work hobby.
Yeah.
Non-sport, non-work hobby. Well, right now it's college tours. That's my favorite hobby right now. But we're going to pro sports games.
Nice. Good stuff. I think that covers it.
Yeah.
Great job, Sheldon. Now, if someone wants to get in contact with you, what's the best way to do that?
Yep. Always email or text just because I might be in with clients. But my email is sheldonneal@remax.net. And my cell phone, 201-481-2891.
All right. We're going to put the email up. Hopefully I spelled everything correctly. Oh, no, I didn't. Hold on. There's an extra R right there. There we go. So if you're looking for help in your real estate needs, Sheldon Neal at remax.net. Sheldon, any questions, comments, concerns for us before we wrap it up?
No concerns. Very, very impressed and happy with the setup this morning. This was great. It's great to spend a little bit of time with you guys. This was a lot of fun as well. And nice to be a part of this.
Great to
Thank
have
you
you
so
here.
much for coming in. Anything else, Brian?
Thanks for coming and enjoy the rest of your day,
Awesome.
everybody.
Thank you guys for watching LeTip Live, and we'll see you on the next one.